just tell you a story of what happened when I was in high school, right? So we was trying to take our driver's test. We was trying to take our driver's test, right? The rules and the writings, right? So keep in mind, I took the test part, you know, like the writings part of it. I took it. Let's start from the beginning. So I had a friend, right? And she was hard of hearing, right? And she was saying that she's in a program, right? And they do things after school, right? And I was like, okay, what about it? She was like, we do cooking and other activities and whatnot, and we go to like fairs and the libraries and other places, right? I didn't take any mind of that, what she was saying. Until she said, oh, we have driver's ed as well. And I was like, what? I can use that program and then try to get my driver's license. And at that time, I was in high school, right? And I was way too young to be in that program. And she's like, there's another program what goes with the program where she's in, but it's for like the baby group. Because I was just turned I was 14 turning 15. And she's like, yeah, you can't go in our program until you get at least like 16 or so to do the driver's ed. And I was like, oh damn, I gotta wait another year, you know? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait. So next year come, right? And then I told her to give me one of those papers so I can join up an after school program, right? So she gave me the paper, I fill it out, no problem, whatnot. But then you need like a parent's signature. I was like, okay, that's another step to go into the program, you know? So I think I got my lazy / loser of a dad to sign it, right? So he signed it, and it was that day I turned it in. I think it was like one day before I started to go into the program, right? So keep in mind that I'm a very responsible person, right? So I told my mom and told her that I'm not gonna come home the regular time because the school time comes out, it lets out at like 2:40. So, and then I have to get on the bus and then drive us to our house, and then it'll be like 3 something. And the program stays up till like the time when the school day ends, up to 5 o'clock, right? And I was like, okay, we're gonna do that, right? Because I had nothing else to do. At that time I didn't have Wi-Fi or anything like that. I don't think so. I can't remember if I did or not. But I didn't have nothing else to do at home, so I was like, go to a program and I can do fun things, you know, like go to Boomers, other little events and whatnot. So I was like, that's another thing to do, you know, after school, you know. So I told my mom that I'm gonna stay late, right? And then I'll come home maybe like 6 to maybe like 7 if like there's a lot of people on the bus, right? So I was telling her, and then that time I was in cooking class, right? And I told the teacher, can I use the phone? And then she allowed me to use the phone, and I made a call. Told my mom, I'm gonna stay late. She's like, why are you staying late? And I was like, remember the after school program will start today? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start it so I can be this much closer to having my license, right? And I was like, yeah. So I guess she told my loser over there, and then she hung up the phone, and he called the teacher while I was in that class, right? And she's like, oh, put me on the phone. And I was like, and I was trying to explain to them that I'm gonna stay late because I'm gonna go to an after school program. The paper what I gave you to inform you that I'm gonna stay late in this after school program. So the teacher told her about the program and whatnot. She was like, okay. So I stayed after school program. We did I don't remember what we did. I think we was doing martial arts or karate class or something like that. Or was it dance? I can't remember. Which one was it? So, and then that day we was gonna go on the bus to go to our house, right? And I didn't know which bus was my bus to go on. And the lady told me that, oh, this is your bus for now. And I was like, okay. So I realized it was a lot of damn kids on that damn bus, you know. And I was like, oh, damn, I'm gonna be like the last person, you know. But I was actually the second to the last. So it was maybe like 12 kids on the bus. So I did that, and then the day of taking the next day, right? The next way was school, and the day was after school program. It was Monday to Friday, right? And sometimes Saturday. Saturdays was after school. Saturdays was driver's ed, and they pick us up. They come to our house and pick us up, and then drive us to driver's ed, right? And at that time we was going. Our driver's ed class was in we went to, what place was it? It was Diller High School. That's where we went to take our test, right? Before we take the test, right, we were supposed to take we were supposed to do like the writing part of it. So I failed. It was 2 tests, right? It was 2 tests. It was the writings and there was the rules, right? I passed the rules that year, and I failed the writing, right? And then I had to wait another year to take it again. And then I passed the rules, and I failed the little signs, right? And I guess I had to wait another year. So, and I guess of all those 2 years was passing, and I passed one and then the other one, right? Found out I went back for the next year, right? That time I was like in I think 11. I think it was. Yeah, I was in 11. And then he was like I told him do he still got my papers? The other 2 times I passed, right? And he's like, no, I do not have your papers anymore. I lost it. I was so furious. You can see like the little you know, like when you get like really mad, it's like a damn thing come popping out, you know. I'm like, oh damn, I gotta take both of them, and I know I'm gonna pass, but you know, sometimes things happen and you fail one, then you can't pass, you know. I was like, okay. And then we had to take the test, and I passed both of them, so that was done. And then we had to go to the it was then that was on a Friday, right? And then the next day it was a Sunday, right? No, it was not a Sunday, it was a Saturday. And then we went to driver's ed to Diller to go to driver's ed, right? And I guess we was in the bus, right? And the bus driver was at the light, right? And there was another car in front of us, right? And it was green light, right? And I guess the bus driver didn't want to beep because he thought he was gonna go, right? And the guy who was in front of the bus driver, he moved up, and then the bus driver thought he was still going, and the bus driver hit into him. And then for some reason, this guy he just came out of his car, started wailing like a little big baby, right? He was like, oh man, you broke my car, you broke it, you crashed into it, and all these other stuff, complaining to the after that the police came, and then the police was like, hey, is all y'all kids okay? We was like, yeah, we fine, we up in here going to like Dillard High School on a Saturday or so, and things, I don't know. So he was just crying to the police. So of course the police took the guy who was in front of us who got hit by the bus, his side. So I was like, of course, bus driver, you could have been crying too, and then you could have both got your sides, you know. But anywho, so we went to Dillard. We pull up to Dillard, and then before we was gonna get off the bus, the our teacher, the driver's teacher, he came up to the bus and said, "Make sure you don't walk by yourself next in the area next to Dillard, right? The high school we was at, right?" He said, "Don't walk alone, cause things be happening at Dillard, right?" I was like, "Okay," because I don't usually I don't read the book. I don't read the news. I don't watch the TV or anything. What happened to Dillard and whatnot and such, whatever. So yeah, he's like telling us that, and he's like, "Oh, if y'all want to go to the bathroom, there's one on this side, and then there's one next to the driving part, right?" So it was our turn to drive, and no, actually it was our turn. It was another class driving, right? And he's like, "This is what y'all gonna do, so pay attention and observe and whatnot, and watch what they're gonna do. We're gonna be going straight and then backing up in a parking spot and whatnot, and then turning diagonal and stuff like that, and then side park and whatever." So I was like, "You guys, I actually did it once, but it didn't. I didn't go on the street. I went into the neighborhood and do it." So we did that, and we had one of these two instructors right next to us, right? And he was guiding me and then backing it up and whatnot and stuff like that. So, the day I did the driving, the real going on the road, whatnot. That day I was so excited, I was like, one more way to go in to get my lessons, and I was so excited. I was like, I'm gonna be driving myself. I don't have to use anybody to help me drive, because that time I had a restrict, and I was like, why do I need a restrict? And I'm like almost half the I think I was 17. I was 17 when I got my restrict, but then I had to wait another year to be 18 to get my restrict. So I waited another year to get my my real license, but that's another part of it. So that's when we still driving, right? And it was my turn to drive, right? Because it was this other kid. He was driving before me, and I wanted to be last. I'm the person who want to be last because I want to see the technique. I want to observe as much as possible as I can to like pass this test. And I was like, I'm gonna pass. My girl gonna pass today, and I ain't gonna fail. I'm so happy. But so it was that one kid. He was a dude. It was a boy. He did his test first, and then another driver did his turn, and then it was my turn, right? And I was like, my hair was like big as like a coconut, and I was like, I'm gonna pass. I know, and I don't deny I'm not gonna pass at this point because I know almost everything about driving, right? So, because I was watching my bus driver, like, I always sit in the front. I bet you'll say I'm a loser or whatnot because you sit in the front. You're supposed to be a cool person and sit in the back, but I was like the type. Anyway, so back to the story. And then I was gonna take my test, right? That was the first time I was gonna take my test, right? And that stupid kid was like, "Oh, good luck," and I was like, "Bitch, I don't need your luck. Like, I could do this without you, and I did it before without you. So why I need your luck?" So I started to drive, right? And yeah, I started to drive because it was my turn to drive, right? And I turned on the car, I checked my mirrors, I put on my seatbelt and whatnot, and I started to drive. We went straight, then I backed up into a parking spot, and then I had to do going forward and then back in a straight line. And then we had to do some of the tests, like doing the little route of what we're supposed to do for like the regular driving ed, we make the signal to make a left to the right, make a U-turn, 3-point turn, backing up, going into a parking spot, and seeing if you can do a straight, no, I think a narrow turn, and just doing my lights, my signals, and everything and whatnot to make sure I got that right. Anyway, and then she asked, and then he asked me a question. On the hill, where do your backlights turn, right, or face, right? And I said, on a hill, when it's going down the car, it's supposed to be on the right. Your wheel's supposed to turn to the right. So I got that right, of course. I read the book like so many damn times. I will never get that wrong. But then he was showing me something. And I quickly turned this way, and I went over a hill. You know, like the little sidewalk? Yeah. I went over that sidewalk, and automatically he turned to me and said, "You failed." I was like, what do you mean I failed? He's like, "You ran over that curve, that little sidewalk and whatnot." I was like, my whole life dropped. Just like my heart, it dropped to the floor. And I was so sad. I was at the point of crying, because when we went back to the classroom, and he was like, we can just start doing the speed and then doing the little course around the thing there very fastly. And at that point, my friend was like, "Hey man, do you want to do it? Do you want to do the course fastly?" And I was like, no. I was like so miserable at that point because I failed that test, and I know I wanted to pass that for the first time. Like, that was my first test of driving, and I did. He said I would have passed if I didn't go over that little hump, and I was just mad. I was sad as hell. I sat down at that table, and I was just weeping. But you didn't see no tears or anything like that coming down my face. But I was like so sad. I was like, oh damn. When I'm gonna take another test? Maybe next I think 2 weeks or so. But then after that we went on the bus. Still moping to myself. I'm like, oh my God, how I failed that test and whatnot. So I got on the bus still weeping. I went home. I went in my bed. I started crying. I started bawling. I was so sad. And then the next day, it was like, it was a Monday, and we had to go back to school, right? And he was like telling how many people pass and how many people fail and whatnot. My friend failed like a lot of times, especially at drivings. She failed, I think, she ran two of the stop signs, and she supposed to be slowing down when it was turning yellow, but she didn't. She speeded up, and yeah, and then it was the next and then it was like the Tuesday came, right, and it was the girl who failed, my friend who failed, and another girl who failed, and I failed. He told us that his sister is gonna do our test for us, right, and we're gonna take our test with his sister, right, and he told us that if you get one wrong, you fail automatically if you go with her, right? And I was like, you know what? I could have passed the first time, but I went over that curb, so I failed. So I ain't got nothing to worry about. Keep in mind that we was after that day when we were supposed to take it, it was a Wednesday. We was gonna take the test, right? We stayed after school. His sister came with the car, and when we told her to walk in the car, we wanted the one with the stick shift instead of the one where you use this and you pull down the lever. So we got the stick shift, and my friend was like, "Hey man, you should go first." I was like, "Excuse me, I go when I want to go, and I'm gonna be the last person, you know." And at that time, the after school buses was gonna leave. At that point, when we left, we was gonna leave. We were supposed to leave at 5 o'clock, but my friend she drove the first one. She drove first, and we was going to her driver's ed. That was Plantation High School, right? And she took her test first, and she was driving towards the Plantation High, and people was just beeping, honking the horn. Even when the on the back of the car it says student driver. So when you see that, you should slow down. But it was just honking the horn. She was getting panicky and whatnot. I was like laughing behind her. And the teacher was like, "Don't pay them no mind. Of course, it says it on the thing, so they shouldn't be rushing us and whatnot." So they still rushing us and whatnot. And then they start swerving in front of her, and then she stopped the car, and then she was like jerking and whatnot. And I was getting scared, because who knows? She was a beginner just like I was, you know, driving, you know, and stuff like that. So I was like, oh my God, we're gonna maybe get run off the road, because not patient people back there, even when it says on the sign that is a student driver on the thing there, right? So we finally got to Plantation High, and she started to do her test, right? And of course she passed. I'm not gonna go too much in detail what she did and how many she got wrong. She got one wrong. Whoop-de-doo, whatever. If she said if you get 5 wrong on driving, then you automatically fail. So she got one wrong, and then the other friend who kept failing, she took her turn, and I told you how she failed. Anywho, she got like at least 6 wrong. And then it was my turn. And then when it was my turn, it was before that happened, we was driving to Plantation. It was a interpreter in the car as well. So we went back to the school, because we had to drop the girl who passed and the one who didn't pass back to the to South Plantation, because that was our school, and that was the bus is gonna leave and whatnot. So she took them back to Plantation. They got on the bus and they got home. They went home, and then she was like, "Oh, you're gonna be my last, but I have another student, so it's gonna be 2 of you." It was me and a boy, right? So I told her, "Can I go to the bathroom before I take my test, right?" She's like, "Okay, cool. You can go to the bathroom." I went to the bathroom. I gave myself a big pep talk, you know, you gotta say, "Hey bro, you got this, you gotta do it right, and this is no more failing today, because this is the last time you won't fail. That other time you fail, you're not gonna fail, you're gonna pass, and you're gonna do it good, you know." And I was like, yes, I got this. No one can stop me from passing, you know. I was like, of course I'm gonna pass. I got so many confidence in myself, you know. Some people don't, and some people do. But at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pass, and I'm not gonna look back. And if I don't pass, then we'll come to that road. But so yeah, before that happened, of going all the other stuff, I told that day of it, I went on the bus like a normal person. And my mom was throwing, not sand, but like grains of rice. And she's like, "Good luck." I was like, okay, but some people do it when people's getting married and whatnot, because they throw rices and whatnot. But that happened, and I guess I was like, that was gonna be my motivation. It's gonna work like that, and yeah, you know. So it was. I came back in the car of the driver's car, you know. And the teacher was asking us who want to drive. It was me or that boy. And I was like, I looked at him, I was like, "You're going to drive. You're going to drive us back to Plantation over there, because I'm going to be the last person, you know." So he drove. And I think he went to Plantation because he meet us to South Plantation. Plantation is all the way up there, and then South Plantation is right there, you know. So anywho, so he drive us back to Plantation High School, and he did his test, and he passed. And then it was my turn, and she was we already know the bus of after school program was gonna leave, and it already left. So she was like, "I will take you home." I was like, "Okay, win-win situation, because I don't have to wait in that smelly bus to be the second to the last person to go home." You know, I was like, "Thank you." Anywho, so I was like, my hand got tired at the moment. So I was like, it was my turn to drive, and I was going straight, and then she told me back up straight as well. And then we halfway got on the road, and then I had to be park in a parking spot, and I had to do a 3-point turn, and then these other things. And then she asked me, before we was almost done, she asked me a question, on a hill, where do your back lights, your back tires supposed to turn, right? I said, to the right. So I got that right, and lo and behold, I passed. Yeah, you know, I know I was gonna pass, but you know, just putting a heads up, you know, nothing is possible if you don't believe. I mean, everything is possible if you do believe. And at that point, I believe in myself, and I believe in everything I strive to do, and it actually worked out. And then she took me home, and then I ran up into that door, you know, to the house. maybe to make it better. I ran up to the house, and I opened the door. I ran upstairs, happy as a butterfly on some kind of wings, you know. Just, it could be a horse. Anywho, just being up in that sky, like, thank you, Jesus, I passed, you know. Anywho, and then I went upstairs, and the first thing I did is congratulate myself. I pat myself on the back, and I was like, thank you, me. I did it myself, and I didn't need nobody else's good luck, you know. Like, bitch, give yourself your own good luck. I don't need your good luck. Anywho, so I ran up in my room. The first thing I do is call my mom and say, "Hey man, I poos." And then the next day, everybody greeted me, and then like they was like, "Did you pass? Did you pass?" I was like, "I'll tell you after school, you know, if I did pass or not." But it was a different teacher. She was like my favorite teacher in high school. She was like, "Did you pass?" I was like, "Your girl passed." And then I was like, of course I passed, guys. But I was like, my head was like swollen, you know. It was like a kiwi, you know, not a kiwi, an eggplant, right? That's how big my head got because I passed, you know. And I know I was gonna pass, but yeah. And then after school, it was like, "Hey, did you pass?" I was like, "Of course I passed." Of course I passed. No, seriously, guys. You know I was gonna pass regardless. Anywho, and then yeah, they was greeting me and saying, "Yay, congratulations, you passed." And then I was hugging some random kid. Anywho, not random kid because I kind of liked him. He did give me a compliment, and I was like, "Thank you, buddy." He was like, "Your hair is beautiful." I was like, "Thank you, buddy. You are beautiful." But I never said that to him. So yeah. And then the day was done, and I went back home after program. Yeah, and then that was the ending of that story. Yup. Congratulations to me. I think that's gonna be the title of this. I think that's gonna be the title of this story. No, it's not gonna be a story. It's gonna be good memory slash times, good times, memories. No, I'm thinking his memories, good times. Yup, that's gonna be the new that's gonna be the title of it. I think so. And yep, look at this little puffed up whatever this. Look at this. What is this? What are you doing? What are you doing? What is this? Look, it looks like horns. Look how, I don't even know what that is right there. Yeah, push this down a little bit. Pat that down too. And who knows? Maybe I'll tell more stories. Maybe I won't. Who knows? I don't know if I'm gonna like post the ending of this, but if it sounds funny, I'll totally post this part, and if it don't, then I won't. Yep. Bye.